just found out about RSD, like within
Yeah.
the last 2 months. And I now am obsessed with it because it really speaks to all of my, not all, many of my issues around abandonment and rejection and not knowing why I would get so volcanically upset about certain things that I would just be like, what is happening? Deep in the recesses of my mind, I'm pretty good at like disassociating myself from myself and looking down and being like, what are you doing?
Right.
And there'd be moments like that where I'd be very upset and I'd be like, what are you doing? What is happening? Now I know that like definitely suffer from rejection problems, you know?
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Me
It's
too.
very
And you think about like, you talked about in your relationships, your previous relationships, and how much RSD causes people to have an assumption of criticism, which causes so many problems in relationships. Because, like, if you have RSD, right? And I say, geez, it's dirty in here or whatever. You hear, I'm not a good enough housekeeper or whatever. And you turn that into a rejection. So in a marriage and in a relationship, you can see how that could
yeah,
wreak havoc, right?
yeah. Man, do I yeah, I mean, for me too, it's like I have preconceived oh, man, this is a myriad of things, but, like, I have preconceived notions how things should go in my head, and if it doesn't, I feel rejected. I feel like, "Wait, like, that's not." I feel like RSD ties into need for control as well. There's, like, a control thing there. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's part of it. But there is, like, for me, there's a way things should go, and if it doesn't, it's like being told, like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know? And that gets me kind of perplexed. I also don't like when people are like one of the things that happened to me recently, and my anger after 8 years of weekly therapy, like, my anger issues have very much subsided, which is awesome, but once in a while, they raise their ugly talons, and a couple actually, it was Super Bowl Sunday. No, it was the San Francisco 49ers had lost in the NFC Championship game against Seattle. And I was watching the game, and there's a table of Seattle fans mocking me, and it wasn't pleasant, but it was fine. I was mad, but I was like, okay, screw these guys. And then my friends were like, hey, do you want to meet us at a bar? And I was immediately like kind of mad because I'm like, no. And like, why are you asking me? But then I was like, it's your friends, like those kind of things upset me because the balance is out of whack. And so I go to this bar they said they're at, and I'm like, "I don't know where you are." And they're like, "We're in the corner." I'm like, "I'm in the corner." And they're like, "Oh, we left and went to this other bar."
Oh, no.
And I was like steam, and I I saw my car and I was like, "You should just go home. You should." And I was like, "Nope." And I get to the bar and they're in a corner, which I also don't like. It was a crowded bar. It was noisy, and I have a lot of, stimulation problems.
Mhm.
I get my wires get frazzled with sight and sound, and I get into this thing, and I'm also hot, and I have a temperature problem too. So it was winter, and I was wearing all this
You're a mess,
layers.
Taco.
I know. I know. And this is generally when I go, okay, I can do this. Instead of being like, I should separate myself and take care of myself and just go home, I go like, I can do this. I can soldier through. But also, I know I'm about to make everyone's night miserable. Yes, I am that guy. And so I got to this group of people, and one of the guys who I don't know tapped me on my back. And I was just like, nope.
That's it.
Yeah, I was like, no. And then I was like, who do you think you are? I was like, "You don't know me like that. You can't just tap somebody on their." I was so pissed. And everyone's like, because no one knows me like that. Everyone thinks I'm this affable, which I am. I'm, aggressively good-natured, but I was not having it that night. And everybody, because these are my workmates, and they're all like, "Whoa," and I was like,
And,
I
like,
got
when
home and
things like that happen, do they surprise you too?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't know if I'm surprised as more of as I'm can't stop. And I know when it's happening, and I'm trying to turn. I'm much better now at finding that corner and trying to turn it than I used to be. I used to just be like, "Fuck it, throw the grenade in," you know?
Mhm.
Be like, "Whatever happens, happens." And then I would get home and be miserable because I'm like, "I'm a horrible person. What am I doing?" And just
And
like
it's all defensive, right?
100%. Yeah. And then the apology tour happens,
Mhm, mhm.
where you're just texting people and then they're all like, "Dude, what is it? Nobody cares," because in my head it's this big.